As y'all just saw in that clip, we're gonna do a 2-color heat transfer vinyl using the contour cut. So stick around and I'm gonna show you exactly how I did it. I just want to let everybody know early in the video that I am going to be doing a giveaway. Right now, while I'm shooting this video, I have about 4,993 subscribers. When we get to 5,550 subscribers, myself and Top Transfers have teamed together and we're going to be giving away 50 Plasol transfers. So what we're going to do is we're going to be giving away this 12 by 18 inch right here. So you can gang it up, do whatever you want to it. It's going to be for one color and it's going to be 50. So this is 50 transfers right here. If you can see that, that's 50 transfers, 12 by 18. So if you got a design that you want or your logo and you can fit a bunch of them on here to put on a shirt, you do, say you put 10 of them on here times 50, you're going to get 500 logos. So like I said, we're going to be doing a giveaway whenever I get to 5,550 subscribers. So if this is your first time on my channel, make sure you go down below, click that subscribe button so you can have a chance also to win some of these. If you're not too familiar on what Plasol transfers are, look through my videos. You'll see a bunch of videos I've done Plasol transfers and it'll catch you up to speed. Also, giveaway number 2, I'm going to be giving away one of those 5-in-1 heat presses that I have. I know it's a long shot. I'm barely at 5,000, but when I first started, I didn't think I'd reach 100 subscribers, but here we are almost at 5,000. So let's get to 15,000 and I'll give one of those away. Also, I was on a live chat with Liberty Graphics, and when I told him that I was going to give away a 5-in-1 heat press at 15,000 subscribers, he told me, he's like, if you hit 15,000 subscribers, I'll give one away too. So if I hit 15,000 subscribers, we're going to give away 2 of those heat presses, one from Heart and Hustle Printing and one from Liberty Graphics. Also, don't forget to go out there and search the YouTube community. There's a lot of us that do t-shirts and there's a lot of us that make videos. Check out the T-Shirt Chicks channel. She's the one that got me inspired. Whenever I first started doing t-shirts, I knew absolutely nothing about printing a t-shirt. I started watching her videos and I started going through her channel and watching, and then next thing you know, here I am now, you know what I mean? So make sure you check out T-Shirt Chicks video. There's T-Shirt Side Hustle. Liberty Graphics, check out Liberty Graphics. He's always putting out stuff. He does a lot of screen printing. Also check out Big Brando. He's always putting out good content. He's another one of those guys that when I first started, I was going through his channel and he has a bunch of stuff on there that can help you guys out too. Also check out Garment Creation. He just started putting out YouTube videos on his stuff also, because what I'm saying may not be the right thing for you, but you can always find something that someone is putting out that will help you. I haven't done a tutorial video in a while on vinyl. I usually post my stuff on Instagram, so if you haven't checked out my Instagram, go ahead and check out my Instagram, Heart and Hustle Printing. In this video, I'm going to be using a white vinyl and a gold vinyl, and it's the Gimme 5 product. Remember, I'm carrying the Gimme 5 product. If you have any questions on it, send me a message on Facebook, send me a message on Instagram, or even here on YouTube. Just send me a message if you have any questions that you want on this vinyl. I've sent a lot of it out and there has been no complaints. I've been using it for a while. If you look back at my video when I first started using it, it's not something that I just jumped into right away. I'm probably gonna go in depth in this video, and it's gonna be a long video. This video is gonna be targeted more for those of you that are just starting off in the vinyl and you're wondering how to do a contour cut, or you're wondering how to do a cutout, or you're wondering how to weld letters together, or you're wondering how you do the tracking on letters. So this is gonna be targeted more towards those of you that don't have any experience than those of you that do. From start to end on how I made this design, I've already shot the second part of this video before I did this part right here. So the shirts were already done and they've already been given out. But now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna show you how I made that design, because I've had past videos where they're like, you made this design but you didn't show us how you made it. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how I made it and how you can layer vinyl on top of each other without getting that gap in between them. So let's go ahead, we're gonna jump into the computer and we're gonna check this out. So before we get started, I've had some subscribers ask me what program do I use to record my screen. So there it is right there. I use OBS 22.0.2. It's what I use. I've been using it since I started. The only thing I don't like about it is that it uses the microphone from your computer. So if you look right here, it's capturing my display, and right here it's the audio input. You can disable that and take it off, but I like to have it so that I can match up the volume from my camera to the volume of this, so I can get it close enough to where when I'm clicking something or I'm talking about something, that what I'm talking about is exactly what is shown on the screen. Like I said, I don't use the audio on the computer because I have a microphone on my camera, so I just use that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna get into this. So like I said before, the program that I'm using is LXI Expert. There's LXI Apprentice. If you're using the LXI Apprentice, some of the stuff that I do on here you will not be able to do on there unless you have the Expert program. This program right here came with my R Series 2 cutter when I first bought it. Then whenever I got my new Final Cutter, I was able to link it to this program also. So if you have the LXI Expert, you can link a whole bunch of different types of cutters to it. So if you don't have it and you have the extra money to spend on it, and it's pretty good and it's worth it. So what we're gonna do right here, this is the shirt that we're gonna be cutting today. We're gonna be cutting this gold and this white with Gimme 5 heat transfer vinyl. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you just a simple thing on how I made this and how you can layer vinyl without having a gap in between the two colors. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna open another one so that we can see it. So if I come here, I'm gonna open up a blank one, and then when I hit this minus sign, I can always come back to reference what I'm doing. So if you have any questions on the font that I'm using, so this one right here, the Aaliyah is Blessed Day. Same thing with Butler High School is Blessed Day. And then the year 2019 is going to be Next Up's Black. That's what those two are. And then if we look at the dog right here, I'm not going to show you how I turn this into a vector. I use Adobe Illustrator to change them into vectors. But if you want to, you can go back to some of my other videos and I show you how I turn stuff into vectors there. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start this right here. So I'm gonna minus this out. We're gonna look for this first one, which was Next Up Black. So I just come here and I'm gonna go to Next Up Black. Colors right. So we had 2019. So what I do is I'm just gonna leave this exactly like that. Just gonna make it bigger. So basically what you want to do with this piece right here is just this is going to be the main focus of your design. So set the main focus up first, and then you can set everything else up around it. That's the way I do it. If you do it different, it's totally up to you on how you want to do it. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to spell Aaliyah. Alright, so now we have Aaliyah here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click it to highlight it, and then I can Control C, which will copy, or I can come up here to edit and hit copy. Once I've done that, I can now press Control V, or again I can come here to edit and click paste, or if you look right here, it has the shortcuts. That's where I get Control C and Control V from. So I'm going to Control V it. Now I got it there. So now what I'm going to do with this, so I don't have to go back, I'm just going to type in Butler now. All right, so actually when I wrote this, it went too big. So what I could do is I can come here to this zoom out button, click it a couple of times, click your arrow to resize it, and then just resize it, and then put it into place. Whatever you want, it's your preference, or whoever you're doing for, it's their preference. So with LXI Expert, you got these zoom out and then zoom in buttons. If you do zoom out and you do lose, say you do that, say you move in too far and you lose your design like this here. The easy way to get it back is this magnifying glass with this paper, and let's see what it pops up with. It's zoom to page. So what it does is it's going to take you right back to what you're working on. All right, so now what we're going to do with this Aaliyah, if you look at this other one that I did over here, I put it like in a slant, so I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do the same thing with that. So all you got to do is when you click it, double click it, and then you got these arrows right here where you could do this to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it about right there. And then to get these arrows to go away, you can just click to the side, Or if you have them there, you could just double click it, and then it would show you these little dots here. With these little dots, you can move individual letters. You can grab them, slide them closer, however you want. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna go in here, we're gonna get this word Aaliyah in Butler High School, and with cursive letters are all flowing together. We're going to bring these letters together so that everything looks like it's flowing. We're going to click the name, and then we're gonna come up here to this. It's Design Central. So when you have Design Central in, that's basically where everything happens with your design. So if you don't have it up, you can. I always like to have it up so I can know what I'm doing. So we're gonna come here to the alphabet, and then if you see these right here, so it has this slider bar right here. You can use the slider bar for the. So with the tracking is whenever you could bring the letters closer or farther apart. So what we're gonna do is you could use this, or you could use right here where it tells you 6.026%. You can up and down this, or like I said, we can come right here to this arrow and bring them in till you like what you see. So we go right there, it looks good. And if you look right here, you can see the cuts. So let's go ahead and let's do Butler High School real quick. So we're gonna come down here, click Butler. And then so with that one I did the slider bar, and then with this one down here, the tracking, I'm gonna do the up and down arrows, and you can see, so it pulls them in together. So what I look for whenever I do this is I wanna make sure that whenever I get this to my size that I'm going to keep it. We'll go around there. So if we go right here, so we'll put it around right there. Same thing with that. I'm gonna click it. All you gotta do is come down here to the bottom to where your colors are at and click it, and it will change the color of what you are working with. So click Aaliyah, come down here to the color, whatever color I want, pink or gold, it's gonna be that color. So we're gonna go with the color that we're using. So again, if I come down here to this fill mode and I click it off, if you look at these letters, the letters are overlapping, right? So when the letters are overlapping, what's gonna happen is when you go to cut this, it's gonna cut this A out of the L. So what we gotta do is we gotta click this letter, we gotta click the name again, and then up here, we have the word weld, or the icon that's weld. So watch what happens whenever I click this, it takes it away. So now they're all together, they all flow together, and they will, whenever it goes to cut it, it's gonna cut one solid piece, all right? So then we're gonna come down here to Butler, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna come here to weld, and we're gonna click weld. They're all together. So then we're just gonna resize this again. Resize it, put it back where we want. So right here, I have a 0 in here, but instead of the 0, the mascot actually worked out for this because the mascot is a bulldog, like I showed you in the other picture. It fits perfect as a 0, so I decided to use that instead of the 0. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna grab this O right here, and I'm gonna delete it. I'm gonna put like 2 spaces. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna come up here, I'm gonna grab my file from my dog, and I'm gonna drop it right there. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna hit Control, and when I hit Control, it's gonna size it for me. So what we're gonna do is we'll come about right there, right? So then I wanna come back in here with the font, with the numbers, and I'm gonna resize it to where I want. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna give a little bit more space, and then resize it to where I want. And now that I got this dog here, I can make him even a little bit bigger to fill in this gap. Something like that. This isn't the exact one, because this one's already been done, but we'll go there. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go with the word Aaliyah. All right, I just wanted to put the dog in here so that we can see how it's gonna work out. And then what I'm gonna do is Aaliyah is, I'm gonna tilt it a little bit more, about right there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make it bigger. All right, so as I make it bigger, I'm gonna look at my other one real quick. So I'm gonna bring it down so I can keep it the same. Here's the other one. Alright, so we're going to go right here. Alright, so this is going to be going on a black t-shirt. So let me turn this dog gold. And then I'm going to drop black. So I'm going to hold down black now, and then I'm going to drop it into the background. Just so that we can have a visual of what it's actually going to look like on a black shirt. So what we're going to do now is we're going to click Aaliyah, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. And then we're going to move it out of the way. And I'm going to tell you why we did that in here in a second. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come up here to Aaliyah. We're going to click Effects. And then we're going to use the contour cut. So with the contour cut, you can make it as big or as small as you want. You use these up and down arrows right here, or you got this square. With this square right here, you just move it. And as you can see, it's getting bigger. Or you could bring it down however you want. It's all up to you. So we're doing this as a say we wanted to do a white background. I can come here and press white. Okay. So I'm gonna hit the check mark, and I'm gonna show you what this is gonna do. What it's showing you here is it's just outlining it. But when you actually cut it, it's gonna cut two different pieces. Let me change this so whenever it comes time to cut it, you'll be able to see it. So we'll do yellow. So I just want to show you real quick what I'm talking about. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select her name, and then I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna click cut. It's not gonna cut because I'm not next to the cutter, but I just want to show you what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna zoom into this right here for you. This pops up. We just minus that out. So if we look at this, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more. So this is the actual the word that is in gold right here. With that being in gold, this is what I'm talking about whenever I did that contour cut with the yellow. So if we were to cut that, we're gonna cut this. If you look at this, you see how this is fatter than the word, actual word. So you can actually layer these two together on top of each other. So that's one cool thing that you could do with the contour cut, but we're not gonna do that in this one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and go back to where we were. We're gonna put her name down here. We're gonna come here. We're gonna go to Effects, Contour Cut. So with this right here, this is what we're gonna do. I don't want these two to connect. I don't want Aaliyah and the two to overlap each other. And then I don't want this to happen here either. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna subtract this a little bit, and I'm gonna grab her name and I'm gonna move it up to about right there. All right, so now that I got it, I'm gonna click Aaliyah's name, and then I'm gonna hold down Shift so that I can highlight multiple things at one time. I'm gonna hold down Shift, and I'm gonna click 2019. Because if I click Aaliyah's name and then I come down here and click 2019, it's gonna go from her name to just 2019. So we're gonna click her name, click 2019. And if you saw, once I clicked that, a bunch of these icons up here opened up. So look at the top. So right now we're here, the weld and the weld by color opened up. And as soon as I hold down this, you're gonna see all these four other ones open up. So now what we're gonna do is we wanna cut out. So we wanna cut out Aaliyah's name out of 2019. All right, so we're gonna come here and we're gonna do cut out. So cut it out. If you're having problems doing this, you have to make sure that they are layered right. So if I come to Aaliyah's name right here and I go to order and I put back. So now that I moved it to the back, if I come here and then I hold down Shift and I click this and then I go cut out, it's gonna remove whatever is on top. So whenever you do that, you can undo, we're gonna undo that, or Control Z. We're gonna move Aaliyah, you come to order and put to front. Now that I got Aaliyah back at the top of our image, now I can come back here and select it. Now I got both of these selected. Another way to do this is I could just draw a box around them. Now that I got them both selected, I hit cut out. So now you see it cut the word Aaliyah and the contour cut out. So now when I grab this right here, when I grab her name and I bring it back to where I'm at, you're gonna see that they are not gonna overlap anymore. So you're gonna see we got that gap between the A and the 2. So that's a cool thing to do right there, because you get that separation. You don't have that solid color of the A and the 2 combined together, right? That's the way I like to do it, just to break it apart. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna work on this dog face. So if you look at this picture down here that I got, we come down here, you're gonna see I did a contour cut on this one. So now I'm gonna show you how I do a contour cut when it comes to layering stuff, so you don't have to do that gap in between. Whenever you're pressing vinyl, you might get that simple gap where you got those two colors, you're trying to line them up, but then when you press it, the vinyl might shrink a little bit. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna come in here with this dog, wrong one. I'm gonna come back in here with this dog. I'm gonna click the dog only. I'm gonna come up here to effects and I'm gonna click contour cut. So with this one, it doesn't matter what color you do it on here, because if I put yellow on here and I put white vinyl inside of the cutter, it's gonna cut it regardless. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go with white, because it's gonna be the black, it's gonna be the gold dog with the white background, so that the dog will pop out. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna zoom in for you so you can see this whenever we do this. So now that we got this dog in here, let's see if I can get it. Okay, now that we got this dog in here, I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. So if I were to cut these two pieces right now, it's gonna put the white is gonna sit overlapping the gold. And I don't want that. I don't want the white. I want the gold. I want the white underneath the gold, so that we have no white showing. So basically what I'm doing is I'm tricking the program to where with this contour cut, it thinks it's gonna cut that piece, but what I'm doing is I'm layering them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come down here to where the up and down arrows are. I'm not gonna use this square. I'm gonna come here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit this minus button until it goes right inside like that. Right inside of this, just like that. So this image right here, when I did this one right here, it's not the vector that I used. The file that I actually saved, the file that I actually used, if you look at the difference in them, look at the difference in these two vectors right here. I didn't actually save, I thought I had saved this file right here when I did it, but I couldn't find it. So I just recreated it real quick for this video. So if you look at this, it's not sharp at all. But here's where we're going with this. We're gonna go here, again, contour cut. So if you look here, I did it right inside of the dog. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change this color to, we'll change it to green, because I wanna show you how it looks when I cut it. So if we look, it's like I said, right inside of the green. So when it goes to press it, it should sit right on the border of that gold and not bleed. And then whenever we press it, you should not see the black shirt through it. So I'm gonna hit the check mark. Make sure you hit the check mark, because if you don't, it's not gonna save it. So when you hit the check mark, it basically applies it. So we got it applied. I'm gonna select the dog now. So I got the dog selected. I'm gonna come up here to cut. I'm gonna show you. So here's the gold right here. So if we look at the gold, so here's the gold part of the dog. And then if you look here, I got the green part. So when I click this green part, you're gonna see it's just one solid piece. So you got this, the gold piece with all the cutouts, and then you got the green. If you see this green now, it's just solid. And it's gonna make your design look a whole lot better whenever you press this, because you're not gonna have that gap in between those two colors. So that's the way I do it. So you got the gold, see that right there, and then you got the green. One thing you want to make sure over here is that whenever you go to press, whenever you go to cut this, you have your two colors. You have gold and you have green. You want to make sure send all colors isn't there, because then what's going to happen if you look down here with send all colors, you got all these colors together now. You don't want that, right? So what we're going to do is take this off, so we can just cut this color and then cut that color. So let me show you this, not this picture, but here's the one that we are going to be cutting. And if you can see, this bulldog looks a whole lot sharper than the other bulldog. You see the spikes are nice and pointy, the teeth are nice and pointy. And then I got this white contour cut here on the inside where we will be cutting the background to this dog. All right, so like I said, this is a two-part video. The next part that you're going to start to see was recorded way in advance. I just wanted to go back and I wanted to show you guys this. What we're going to do now is we're going to go and we're going to select this dog here. We're going to cut only the dog because I don't want to cut this whole piece and then when I go layer the dog not be right. So I'm going to test this piece. Once I see that it presses right, then I'll go ahead and I'll do the rest. But with this piece being layered, I want to make sure that none of the garment, whenever I layer these, is sticking out inside of the bulldog. I don't want some black showing in between the gold and the white. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to get into this. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start cutting these pieces. We're going to check it out. So let's go ahead and get over to the cutter. All right, so like I was saying, whenever I do this bulldog, I'm using the contour cut method. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use 2 random pieces that I have because I have a bunch of scraps. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this thing is going to fit before I go and cut a bunch of them and then they don't fit. So I'm going to cut the black bulldog with a white background. So I'm using scrap pieces. And when I use scrap pieces, since this is going to be a small cut, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this Cricut mat right here. This is what I like to use. I'll put this on there. I'll put it in the cutter and then let it cut. We'll weed it and then we'll make sure that I'm actually going to press them because, you know, vinyl does shrink maybe just a little bit, but we're going to see what's going to happen with this and see how it comes out. If it comes out good, we're going to go ahead and cut all the shirts and then press them. All right, so if you're new to my channel, the vinyl cutter that I'm using is a Vinyl Express QE6000 from Sign Warehouse. If you watch my videos or you're a subscriber, you'll know that Sign Warehouse sent me this cutter, asked me to show it off for them in my videos, so I've been doing that. So if you're looking for a nice cutter, something that's good, I'm going to give them their props because they sent this to me for free. And I would say if you need a cutter and you can afford this, get it. It's awesome. So before I put this on here, you're going to notice that there's a shiny side and there's a dull side to the vinyl. So the shiny side is the carrier and the back side, which is the dull side, is the side that you want to cut. The reason you want to cut that is because that is what's actually going on the shirt. If you cut this plastic right here, you're going to waste the vinyl. Alright, so if you're using the silhouette or the cameo, you have to line this paper, you have to line your vinyl up to this line right here so that it sticks to the whole thing. But me, that I'm using this cutter right here, if you can see right here, number 1 says front edge. So when I click the button for front edge, what it's going to do is it's going to come down to the edge. I didn't mean to do that, but what it does is it comes down to the edge of this paper right here. Alright, so it comes to the edge of this. So if I move this up, what it's going to do is it's going to measure this up here, but it's not going to cut the vinyl. So what I like to do is put the vinyl on the edge right here. If you try to use this Cricut mat on this cutter here, that's what I would tell you to do, is put it there. Alright, so I'm not gonna record the screen. I'm just gonna show you what I'm doing up. So I brought it up closer. Alright, so if you're using LXI, make sure when you go to cut your image that you don't have anything clicked. Because if you have something on here that is clicked, what's gonna happen is, say I click Aaliyah's name right here, and then I go to cut, all it's gonna do is come up with her name. And then you're gonna be like, why is it only showing her name? That's because you have that, basically what it is you have that highlighted. So don't highlight anything. If you're going to try to cut the whole image, make sure nothing on here is clicked, and then when you go to cut, everything will be there. But since I only want to cut the bulldog, all I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the bulldog and I'm going to click it. Now you can see it has the red cut around it, showing that that's what's going to be cut. So what I'm going to come up here, I'm going to come to this button that says cut or plot, or you can control L, and then you're just going to hit the button. And then it's going to load. Alright, so once it loads, if you look down here in the corner, you're going to see the bulldog. Right here. You see this F right here. Alright? If you look at the bulldog, it's flipping back and forth. Alright? So this is if you're cutting regular vinyl or 651 adhesive where you're going to put a sticker somewhere, you want to make sure it's that way. But if you click it and the F is backwards, that's what you're looking for. So when it's backwards, it's mirrored. If you highlight over it, you're going to see the word mirror pop up. All right, so once we're ready, we can go ahead and click send. After it cuts this piece, we're going to go in there, put the white, and then cut the white background and press it. So I basically want to make sure that the white is gonna fit over the black. I didn't measure it, but I just want to make sure it's gonna fit over it, and it will. So again, remember, you got the shiny side, you got the dull side, which is the vinyl side. You want to make sure you get the vinyl side in there, facing up. Once you got it in place, whatever type of cutter you have, you just line it up to the way it's gonna go. Once you get it, go ahead and click it. For mine, I hit front edge. What it's doing right now is it's measuring the size, and it'll tell me what size vinyl I have in there. So it measured 9 inches across. What it does is it measures from here to wherever I have this. So if I move this one out to the blue over here, you can see this blue line, I'll get to 12 inches. So we're gonna go ahead, and now we're gonna come back over here. Like I showed you a minute ago, I'm gonna come back over here. All I'm gonna do is click the white now, and this one should just be real quick because it's only the outline of the back. So there it goes. It shouldn't take long, and that one's done. So all right, so we got our 2 pieces now. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna weed them, and then we're gonna go to the press. Always have something that you could press samples on to see how it's gonna come out. So I have a shirt that I messed up on. I was putting a chest piece, and when I put it sideways. I'll show you in a minute. And then we're gonna press this on that shirt so that we can see how it's gonna come out. Well, if it comes out good, once we know we're good, there's no gaps between the white and the black, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start cutting all. All right, so here's what we're gonna be looking at when we press this right here. It's gonna hopefully look something like that. So see, I went ahead and I weeded it. I've missed 2 teeth right there, so I'm gonna come back in here and pull those 2 teeth out. Here's the shirt I was talking about. I did this with the plastisol transfers. The plastisol transfers, whenever you're pressing plastisol transfers, it's not transparent like this. So I just got it, put it on there wrong. So, all right, so here we go. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna press the white. I'm gonna be pressing the Gimme 5. So this one right here presses 4 seconds at 285 degrees. All right, so let that one press. So that fast, 4 seconds is ready to go. So now here we go with the black. We're gonna put our black on there. We're gonna layer this white. We're gonna layer the black on top of the white. Oh yeah, that's nice. What I'm looking for is I'm looking to see if I can see any red around this area. There's no red sticking through the inside the black, so we know we have a good vinyl stick right there. That looks really good. So when we do those other shirts, it's going to be gold with a white background like this. So on these shirts, we're going to be pressing 10 shirts. We're going to be using the Gimme 5 gold and the Gimme 5 white. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to cut one of these. I'm going to show you how I load the 15-inch into this Vinyl Express QE6000. Show you how it loads in there. And then after I cut this one, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to stop the video, and then I'm going to get everything cut. All right, so once you have this on, it's telling us to load the media. So right now, we can move this freely. Once you lock that arm in the back into place, you do not want to move this right here. You would probably damage it. So what we're doing is we're going to cut. This is for a 12-inch, and this is for a 15-inch. So this one, this roller arm right here can go anywhere here, and this one can go here, here, or here. So we got 12, 15, and 20. All right, so we're going to move this one and this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to load this vinyl in there. So as you can see, when I pull this up, you got the shiny part facing down. You want the shiny part facing down because you do not want to cut the carrier. You want to cut the actual vinyl. All right. So then once I come here, what I want to do is I want to move this roller out to the blue. Once I get it lined up with the blue, I will then move this one over. This is a 15-inch piece of vinyl. So I'm going to do some medium shirts, and I'm going to cut them at 11 inches. What I like about this cutter here is it has these ribs right here, all along this right here. So it has them in the front and in the back. If you're using the R Series 2 cutter, which is the cutter that I first started with, it didn't have these, so it was hard to tell if the vinyl was straight. If you had a crooked cut here, say you cut the vinyl and you went sideways, and then you lined this up straight, say you lined it up with this line and it was straight, you thought it was straight, and then when it starts cutting, you see it going sideways. So the good thing about this cutter is it has these ribs right here, so you just line them up in the front, and then with my hand back, with this hand back here, I'm making sure that I'm guided with this line all the way to the back. Once I got it there, I flip it into place, I hit front edge. It's gonna measure what we're cutting. I just want the front edge, and then it's gonna tell me right here that I got 14.823 that I could cut. So if my image, just because this is a 15-inch piece and I put 15 inches on there, it's not gonna cut it. So make sure whatever it says here, you have it smaller on your whatever program you're using. All right. So the program that I'm using is the LXI Expert. It came with the R Series 2 cutter, the first one that I bought. All right, so we got it loaded. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna cut one of these. Once we get it cut, we're gonna weed it. I'll do the white, we'll weed it, we'll check it out, we'll make sure everything looks good. Once everything looks good with that one piece, I'll go ahead and I'll cut all of them. So that's another thing, if you're doing multiple shirts, always do, if you're doing a contour cut like I just did, make sure you do that first test. You wanna make sure it's gonna work. Once I do that, I like to go ahead and I like to cut the whole piece, just one of them. I don't wanna cut all 10 to find out later on that it's not gonna match up. So then you just wasted, say this was, each image was 1 foot, I just wasted 10 feet of vinyl. So make sure I always cut one, make sure the contour cut is gonna work together. After I do that, I go ahead and I cut my first one, make sure everything is gonna line up. You never know. Once it all lines up and I give myself the thumbs up and I'm good to go, I'll go ahead, I'll cut the other 9 because I don't wanna waste 10 feet of vinyl. Because we all know when we're first starting off, this stuff right here is precious. You don't want to waste it. I mean, if you waste it, you're just like, man, I just wasted money. So with this cutter, I do not have to, it doesn't matter where I put the image. I can put the image anywhere on the program and it will cut it. If you're using the R Series 2 cutter, which is the first one, it's really picky. You have to put your LXI, you have to put the image down to 0. So if you look at the y-axis and the x-axis, you're going to see a 0 on top and a 0 on the bottom. You have to put the image down to the 0. If you don't, if you put it up on 5, the cutter is going to go to inch number 5 and start cutting. So then you just wasted that 5 inches of vinyl. So make sure you have it at the 0, 0 or all the way, I always like to say, all the way to the bottom left-hand corner. If you got it to the bottom left-hand corner, you're good. And then last, mirror your image. Do not forget to mirror your image, because then you're just gonna waste it. Also, once you cut this image, remember it's 2 colors. We're doing the gold and then we're doing the white contour cut to put that background. So make sure whenever you do that, whenever you cut this piece right here, you don't go back in there and try to resize it. If you resize it, you're gonna mess up the white, and then when you come to press them together, you might have that gap. So make sure you don't. So if it happens to you, if you accidentally go ahead and resize it before you cut the second color or however many colors you're doing, so what you could do is hit the undo button. I don't know how many times your program will let you do it. Some programs will only let you do it so many times, but if you moved it and moved it and moved it a whole bunch of times, and then you try to Control Z or undo, what it's going to do is it might only let you do it a couple times. So make sure that you do not resize the image once you've cut the big piece, and then you go into the little fine stuff, right? So mine came with this cool little X-Acto knife or razor blade or whatever you want to call it. So what I like to do is come here. It's going to bring the vinyl down. I'm looking for the edge right here. So the highest point, which is the top of the A. All right? So what this one has, it has a guide right here. So I like to use this guide to make my line straight across. And you see the paper, it stays straight. And then we have our image right here. Alright, so I had some more of this spare stuff right here. Like I always say, keep what you got because you never know when you're going to need it again. So I had some more white. What we're going to do is what I'll be able to do with this is I'll be able to cut 3 of them out. So it's going to benefit me by saving this spot. It's going to benefit me by saving this piece right here. Let's go ahead and get this piece cut and then we'll weed it. So what I went ahead on this one is it has a button for copies. So I just hit the number 3. So it's going to make 3 copies on this one page right here. So let's go ahead and send this. Alright, so here we are, day 2. It was late last night when I started this video. Here we are, I already weeded this piece right here. Here it is right here, and then here's the white. So what we're gonna do is, what I like to do is press one shirt before I get started, because it's an order of 10. I wanna make sure that this one is gonna look good before we go ahead and press the rest of them. So like I was talking about when we were over there with the cutter, if you're new to this, this is the carrier right here. The carrier is gonna be the clear sheet, and you wanna cut the back. You wanna actually cut the vinyl. So whenever you cut it in reverse. So now whenever you put it onto the shirt, you're gonna see it's gonna be the right way. Same thing with the white, we cut it in reverse, and now when we put it on there, it's gonna go the right way. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here, set the t-shirt up, and get ready to press this. So I'm just gonna line this up real quick so we can take a look to see how it's gonna look. So here's how it's gonna look on the actual shirt, just like that. So that's how it's gonna look. It's gonna look good with the black shirt with the gold, and the white's gonna make it, the bulldog is gonna make it pop, which is the mascot for this school right here. Alright, so one of the things I like to do whenever I get ready to press a shirt is use a lint roller like this, just to get any lint off there or anything that could get underneath the vinyl. Last thing you want to do is to press a shirt, and then when you pull up the carrier, you see a piece of hair or you see some lint sticking out from underneath the vinyl. So I use a lint roller. I go ahead and I do that a couple times to make sure everything's off. The next thing I like to do to center my image is I have a T-square, and what I like to do is use this. See how much we got. So if the shirt's actually, if it's longer than this, it's hard to tell, but like a medium and a large shirt, I like to use the seams right here, and I like to go center this off of the seam. So we're almost at 9 inches, which is good. So that'll be the center. And then I like to come, people do 3, a lot of people like to do 3 fingers. I go with 3 inches, so I'll put that where 3 inches is at, and I'll come off of that. That's one way to do it. If you don't have a T-square, I can show you another way. A lot of these shirts come with a line down the middle. Don't always go off the line, because you never know if it's straight. You don't. Last thing you want to do is press something, and then when you hold it back, it's crooked. So you can always get the shirt, fold it in half, line everything up just like this. Line up the sleeves. If you line the sleeves up together and you hold it up, you go ahead and put it on your where you're going to press it. Make sure everything is nice and straight. Give it a quick press. So whenever you open it up. So here's what I was talking about. So this line right here, there was a line right here. And then when I just folded the shirt and I did it in half, you'll see this second line. So this is the actual straight line. This line is crooked, so you don't want, that's what I'm saying, don't go off the line that's on there, because you never know if it's straight. So, or like once I do a lot of shirts, I don't use a T-square because it's just time consuming. So you could just eyeball it, whatever method you want to use, the T-square, fold the shirt in half, or just eyeball it. It's up to you. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take the moisture out of the shirt. It says do a 3 to 5 second press. So now that we got the moisture out of the shirt, we're going to be pressing this right here. So for this one right here, I'm gonna use the T-square method. I'm gonna go ahead and use my T-square for this one, just for the first one. I just want to see how it's gonna look. So we're about 9 inches on both sides. So if we look here, this is what I was talking about. We got 9 inches here, and then if I look at the far side, you probably won't be able to see it. We got 9 inches over there also. Then I like to come down 3 inches, so I'm gonna go right there. All right, so before we press this, you just wanna make sure, you wanna go through your image, you wanna make sure that there's nothing on here that after you press it, it's gonna get stuck to the shirt. You just want the image by itself. So just make sure you pulled everything out of the letters, everything out of these letters. Make sure you have no gold vinyl anywhere around in there or anything that could have got stuck to it in there. Because last thing you wanna do is press this shirt and then have a piece of vinyl, like a random piece of vinyl somewhere. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna line this up. So if we look where we're at right here, we know we got 9 inches on both sides right here. So if we look here, we're about 5.5 and 5.5 on both sides. So what I'm gonna do is what I like to do is I like to hold this down. And when I hold that down, what it does is it's gonna keep it in place. I'm gonna pick this up, then I'm gonna lay it back down just like that. So remember, we're doing 2 colors of this right here. You cannot press the white with the gold on top of it, because then this dog is gonna get stuck to the vinyl carrier on the other side. If it's more than one layer, you have to press it in layers. So this is a 2-layer vinyl. So what we're going to do is I wanted to get this lined up so that whenever I take this carrier off, the dog will be lined up exactly where we need it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to roll this up, and as I roll this up, as soon as I see this piece of vinyl down here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it in place so that I know that's exactly where I want it. So if you look at it, it's not going to be in the middle because the dog is actually bigger than all the letters. I mean, the dog is actually bigger than the numbers, so once we put it together, it will be centered. This is Gimme 5 vinyl. It only takes 4 seconds to press it at 285 degrees. So once we do this, after that, we're going to go ahead and then we're going to put the gold on there and see how it looks. Alright, so there's our dog. Our dog is in place. So we got the base on there. If you were doing more than one color, you would fill in the rest of the colors before you go ahead and put in the last piece. So we got the base on there, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the dog on there. So basically what we're looking for here is we want to line up the dog the best that we can so that once this thing is pressed, everything should be centered. So we got it. You just want to make sure you have no gaps. So right here I can see a little bit of the white. So that's what I'm saying. You want to make sure you're covering up everything, not leaving any gaps. Once you get it to how you like it, go ahead, press it down. Same thing here, we're using the Gimme 5 gold, and it's going to take 4 seconds to press this one on there too. So one more time before we press this, I just want to double check. Had a little piece on there, so I got it off. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and press this. Alright, so here we go. The Gimme 5 gold. Alright, so there it is. You can see that it actually came out pretty good. You can see the detail in the dog. No gaps in there. So that is exactly what we're looking for in this shirt. So again, we got the 2 layers together now. What I like to do, just give it one more press just for insurance purposes. So with the Gimme 5 vinyl, like I told you before, you don't need Teflon paper. You can just press it without Teflon paper. To save you a little bit of money and not have to buy Teflon paper, you can use it. And there it is. You can't see none of the black through the white or the gold right here. So that actually looks pretty good. And everything came out exactly like I wanted it to. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut the rest of the vinyl. I'm going to cut the rest of the white. As I went through my scrap pieces and I found a whole bunch of Gimme 5 white that I had. Like I always save the spare pieces because you never know what you might have coming up in the future. So I have these extra pieces and I'm just going to cut. I need to cut 7 more bases for the dog. And then with that gold, I'm going to cut 9 more of those. So what we're going to do is we're just going to speed through this. And then we're going to press these shirts and then we'll check you out at the end of the video. Alright, so that's it. We did 10 shirts. Y'all saw the process that I did right here. Whenever I did this, I was able to do that contour cut. The contour cut method is usually used when you use printable vinyl. you put the registration marks on there, so whenever you put it back into your cutter, what it does, you hit send, it goes and it finds those registration marks, and then it goes back and it knows exactly where to cut, so you can peel that sticker off and put it where you want to put it. So what I was showing you is another way to do it, as you saw in the beginning of the video. So instead of going out with the contour cut, I went in so that it actually goes inside, and I was able to do the background of the dog white. So that's just another way to do something. Everybody has their own way of doing things. If you got ways that you do stuff, leave some comments down below. Let me know. Maybe you know another easier way. It's been a while since I did an actual full video where I did from start to finish with vinyl. I wanted to do this for anybody that's looking into going into this business or this hobby or whatever you're trying to do with it, or maybe you just do it for yourself. I just wanted to show you a way to do it. I know when I first started, I didn't know how to do a lot of stuff, so I just went on YouTube like everybody else does, and we learned from there. So again, in this video, I use all Gimme 5 product. I use the Gimme 5 Gold and the Gimme 5 White. Again, you guys know, if you follow me on Instagram, I've been selling the Gimme 5 product now. I don't have my webpage yet. We're still working on doing that. But for now, if you need some, you can just send me a direct message. Go to my Instagram page and follow us. And if you have any questions on it, just message me anytime. I've been selling a lot of the Gimme 5 product on there. A lot of people ask me, how does this compare to the Caesar Easy Weed? I used Caesar Easy Weed when I first started because it was convenient. I could go to Michael's or I can go to Hobby Lobby and just pick it up, come home and press with it. I didn't really like it because it felt like a lot like plastic. You didn't get that soft feel with it. But ever since I started using this stuff right here, I liked it, so I stuck with it. So I do have the black and I do have the white. I'm getting low on both of them. I'm gonna have to pick up some more of this, and then again I picked up some gold for this video, but I still got some left. I got about 5 yards of gold left and then 5 yards of silver. So if you need some of that, hey, let us know. Send me a message, send me an email, send me a message on Instagram or Facebook, whatever you do. Send me a message and let me know if you want pricings on this stuff right here. And last, I want to say congratulations to all the classes of 2019. Good luck, and may you fulfill all your dreams in the future. And then we're going to end this like we always do. I'm Joe. This is Heart and Hustle. And until next time, keep pressing.